Hey folks, welcome back to Practical Outdoorist. Today I'm going to show you how to repair the steering cables on this Minn Kota 565 trolling motor. I noticed that the pedal had no steering. The motor works, it goes through all the gears and everything at all the different speeds, but no turning. So let's get after it. So the first thing that I noticed was that this pedal is just sloppy. So I started here, and I already have taken out the fasteners and everything. I have some parts here that are cracked and broken. I'm going to go ahead and glue them and do the best that I can, but you can see that all the cables are not even staying in their proper tracks, and that's what the problem is. So I ventured back up here to this end, and I've already taken this apart to save us some time, and this is what was going on. Somebody had this boot up over top of here like it was supposed to be, and they used, I don't know, I guess about a half or three quarters of a roll of electrical tape to tape everything together, and I got all that off and cleaned up, and both of the cable ends were frayed like so. So I went ahead and took off the top here, and I'm not going to take this all the way apart. I'm just going to kind of show you what's going on in here. Okay, these are on this little chain drive, and I'm going to equal those up when I'm all done with what I'm doing on the other end. But you'll notice that these have special fittings on these ends of this cable, so I can't do much over here. However, the other end down here at the foot control, if you'll notice, I can take the adjustment out of there. So basically what I'm thinking is I should just be able to take about, oh, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 inches of slack, and I've already cut this one, and I'll cut the next one on camera there to show you all what I did and how I got that. But basically I'm thinking that I can just put this right back in here once I'm done, jam it in there nice and tight, and I'll figure out a better way to keep it all in there than, you know, 2 or 3 rolls of electrical tape. And then I'll come back over to the other end here, and I'll take the slack out of here and put it back in the tracks and the wheels, and I should be good. I will say though that I think I broke the switch, which is not that big of a deal. It's just one of those 3-way switches. The whole thing was broken up. I mean, it's been thrown around, and you know, who knows what they've done. But here's what I'm talking about. This here, guys, don't do this. There's plenty of other solutions than to use gobs and gobs of electrical tape. Shrink wrap is the first thing that comes to, or shrink tube is the first thing that comes to my mind. That would give you a nicer, tighter, cleaner end result. And I'll end up taking that off, and I'll put shrink tube on that and tidy that up, you know, cut it all off with alcohol. So I'm going to go ahead and get the tripod set up, and I'll show you what I did. Alright, I'm back. I'm going to use some PB Blaster silicone. I'm going to spray down in here. Next, I think I need to put the cables back up in here, and I'm not really sure how I'm gonna get them to stay yet. So I'll get them locked in there somehow, and we'll get back with you. So I had to stop last night. When I cut this cable, the cable shroud, I realized that this cable inside was broken way down inside of there somewheres. So I removed the cable, and on the end, as you can see on this chain link fitting, it has these two C-clips holding it on. That's what held the cable in there. And then there was this brass fitting, and I started looking closer, and I thought, well, hell's bells, that looks like solder in there. So I took it over to the workbench and brought out the old torch, and I'll show you what we found in just a second. Now what I'm waiting on, though, is I'm waiting for that sun to go away from here before I proceed with any more of this. I am in the shade over here to get this thing together, but I'm going to fabricate my own cable. So here's my brass fitting, and the cable went right up through like that. So I'm going to take a little bit of solder, I'm going to fray this end a little bit and solder that. Then I'm going to pull the cable back down like so, and I'm going to heat this up and sweat it again and fill that up with solder, therefore making my own cable. Then I'll fish this cable back through the cable shroud, and hopefully all will work well. I don't see anything that can go wrong with it. It's foolproof. So the first thing that I did was I took this drill bit just to ream this out a little bit and scratch up the brass to make sure that my solder gets a good bond. Then I have flux here, just regular plumber's flux, and some solder. So I'll flux this, I'll flux everything, and then put a little bit of solder on it, and we'll go from there. The first thing that I'm going to do over at this end at the workbench is I took this drill bit and I just kind of reamed this out a little bit to scuff up the insides, because I don't have anything abrasive that can fit inside of there. We're going to put the cable through there. I'm going to fray the ends a little bit. Just to help it to not pull through. To give it some more resistance. Like so. Next, put some flux in there to help bond this cable. I'm hoping that it'll bond the cable to the brass fitting there, and we'll fire up the torch and find out what happens. it looks like that worked. Let that cool off. I'd say we got her. And there you have it, folks. I just made my own cable. So we're going to wait a little while till the sun goes down over there, till it goes around to the back before I go to try and put this in, but I believe I'm on the right path. While I'm waiting for the sun to go back around to the backyard so I can go back to work on the cable, I wanted to show you, this is the top cover of that trolling motor. And these two studs here were broken off. I super glued those last night with Loctite and baking soda. I think I got a pretty good tight bond on these. I don't know that they'll hold up, but we'll find out. And this red seal around here was broken and it all fell apart. So I super glued all that together. And I suspect that if you look closely here, there's like a lip there on this edge. I guess that keeps the water out. So you can see I have a couple of places where it's missing. After I put the cover back on, I'll just take a little bit of silicone caulk and hit these two corners here just to keep the water out so that it doesn't get the wires and all that wet. And that's about it for that. So I glued these last night and they've been drying overnight, so should be pretty good to go. I feel like I got a pretty good bond. You can see the baking soda in there build up. I'll tell you, it's an amazing thing to throw baking soda on super glue. It makes it set up quick and it sets up hard. Alright, I'm back and we have shade on the bow of the boat now. I'm ready to get back after it. So the connectors here that hold the cables together, I noticed that they are threaded inside. So I cleaned it up. The cables were like way outside of there. I've already done this one. So basically I'm going to feed my cable on through and put the now we'll take and thread that fitting onto the cable. Goes through like so. There's a C-clip. Goes on here. That keeps that in place. And that's it for there. You know, I'll have to put the end back through the fitting up here. Now we take that cable end, pull it up through here, Okay, that's one. And two. There you have it. It's all hooked up here at the head. We'll go ahead and put the cover back on. All right, this end is all wrapped up. Only thing left to do is to put all the connectors back together. And yeah, I'm not going to bore you with that. When I get down to the other end and I go to make my connections at the foot control, we'll get right back with you. There's a little bitty set screw in here. The cable goes in one side, back through the other, and then you lock it down with the set screw. It sets in this groove here and locks down like so. Alright, there's the cables all hooked up. And mind you, it was tough to get these things in here and set in place, but I have tension on my pedal now. And I'm going to go to the front and show you that it works and it steers now. Alright guys, we have steering on this old unit again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and button the rest of it up and cover it up, but all in all, it went very well, and now I have a steerable unit. Well, there you go guys. That's how you repair / replace your steering cables for an older trolling motor. I can't speak for all the other ones, but this model here in particular, if I ever break a cable again, I'll do the same thing again. It wasn't that bad. Certainly beat hunting these cables down somewhere and paying for them and having somebody to ship them to you, waiting for them and all of that. And despite the fact that I couldn't even find these things. That was the biggest deal. I just couldn't find them. I only did a quick search. I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's making them. I'm not positive, but I made my own, and now I'm back in business and I got steering. Remember folks, get outdoors, keep your eyes open, because if you don't, you're going to miss it. Take care. I also want to add, with a little bit of redneck engineering, I got steering. And there you have it folks.